Yo, what it do, y'all? Welcome to Phantom Frequency, y'all, where we get into the entire multiverse of pop culture, music, TV shows, anime. We're going to be expanding and doing so much more than we even did the previous year and the years we've done before, y'all. We're just going to keep getting bigger and bolder. And
That's right.
I am joined here by my main man, Miguel. My name is Kenny. And we're going to be coming at y'all today about, of course, you saw the thumbnail. Y'all got eyes and everything like that. But hey, you might be looking on the podcast feed and just listening in. This is The Last of Us, episode 3. We're doing the recap/review, getting into all the nitty-gritty plot details. So, spoiler alerts, all that good jazz. Y'all know the deal. We're going to get into all that stuff, man. But yeah, so we were going to kick this thing off with just our general thoughts, just what we thought about the overall episode, and then we'll kind of recap all the plot points and things like that and get into all those details. But overall, man, what'd you think about this episode?
And I thought this episode was pretty great. Obviously, it's pretty much like a flashback episode in a way.
Yeah,
There's not that much. I'm going to say that much, but there's not much of the story being advanced. And usually,
kind of bookended by it, like in the beginning and then the end. You know what I mean?
Yes. How I told it before. Sometimes I don't like when shows or movies like backtrack to just. We were talking about this in the last episode.
It's crazy because they haven't even seen it yet, but we recorded it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, y'all, we got something in the works right now, man. Hitting y'all this weekend.
This last episode, I was saying that unlike a show sometimes backtrack to the past. This one felt. I don't know. I felt like it was right in its place. You know, it gave us a lot of information. I don't know if you noticed, but in the beginning of the episode, there was no flashback talking about the infection or anything like that. Which I was kind of surprised because these past 2 episodes have had very strong intros into the show.
For sure.
The episodes.
And I love those intros.
Yeah,
but I actually like that they broke it up with this one and kind of used the flashback to flesh out the characters as opposed to the world. So I like that in TV show fashion, they took the time to build the characters, but it never was at the expense of the story they're telling or anything like that. We had the Joel and Ellie stuff that tied in perfectly to it. Tess came back for a brief appearance and things like that, which we'll get into all the big details there. So I love the way that they were incorporating the flashbacks, like you said as well, man. Like it needed to be there. That's the way they've been able to do it every time. And I like that they don't have a formula. Oh, first 2, we did that flashback in the beginning, but it's not about the virus. It's just about this in the middle of the episode. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, man. Like, I like how we never know which way they're going to go. Like, what's the word? Like, linear, you know, like it's non-linear. Like it just kind of goes all over the place a little bit. So I like how they're keeping us on our toes for sure, man. Like, but as you were saying,
I for sure like the work that Nick Offerman did as Bill. I've looked up or read, heard some podcasts with him. And he is also pretty much like in the episode, a handyman. He's an outdoorsman. He loves like work. He has like a wood shop at his place. He be making stuff. He be freaking killing animals and cooking them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
dope.
like
that's dope.
When I saw an episode like that, I'm like, this is the perfect person to play this Bill character. And yeah, man, you obviously see how you start off the episode with Joel and Ellie, and I like those brief. I would say about 15 minutes of the episode of them just walking around trying to get to Bill. And you see Ellie killing an infected for the first time, I would think. Like, I'm not sure yet. Or I haven't played the game, so I would say that's the first time. And yeah, you get into the Bill stuff, and for sure, love story. I was pretty like amazed there was a love story. I didn't even think there was like that was going to happen. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, man. What about you? What'd you think?
I really love this episode too, man. Like, I got to say, at first I was like, oh man, this is getting a little slow and things of that nature. Oh yeah. That's where I was, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, as I was saying, the show was getting a little slow, and I was like, all right, cool. So, we're getting introduced to the Bill character, but where is this going exactly? And then we got introduced to the character of...
Frank.
Frank, yeah. I kept forgetting his name. I almost said Joel. But yeah, so we got introduced to the character of Frank when he's like, hey, man, don't shoot. You know, I'm just looking for a meal and a place to crash real quick. You know what I'm saying? It's only been like 2 days, and I know that doesn't sound long when I say it out loud, but hey, man, just help a brother out. And then once that stuff started getting going, then I got a lot more perked up. Like, oh, okay, because the very beginning with Joel and Ellie, I was locked in because that's where we've been with the whole
Yeah.
show so far. And I knew we were gonna get introduced to Bill, but I thought it was gonna be in a different way. So I liked the way that they were able to subvert my expectations. And for a while, I was kind of like, I don't know about this. But overall, I really dug the episode, and it became a beautiful love story set in set in a pandemic
Yeah.
or set in a
There you
post-apocalyptic
go.
world where I didn't mean to say pandemic, but in a post-pandemic world where everything's gone to shit, but they are able to continue their relationship and build off of it there, and what it means to have a relationship, and does it even mean anything to have a meaningful life in a world like that? Does it mean anything to live day to day and do anything different other than survive? So I think all those themes that they were exploring were so beautiful, were so well told. I just absolutely loved the episode, man. And even though it was probably the most action zombie less of the show, might be the most
That's
well
true.
written episode of the show. It might even rival the first episode because to me, excuse me, that first episode is one of the best pilot episodes I've ever seen, as it's called, like the first episode of a TV series ever, man. Like, it reminds me of when I watched like Stranger Things episode 1 or Batman the Animated Series episode 1 or whatever, what have you, fucking Cobra Kai episode 1 or anything like that, where it just locks me in right away and it just blows me away with the story that they're telling and the characters, and I'm just invested in everything and the whole journey they're going on. So
Yes.
and with the way they set up Ellie and Joel to be going on their adventure, and now we kind of know the timetable of where we're going to be going. So we now know that his brother is pretty much the next thing coming up in the show. At least I would assume.
Whose brother? Joel's?
Yeah,
I thought he was.
but they might make another stop.
What
before.
was that friend that he had in the first episode? It was named like Antonio or something. I forgot his name. Isn't he that? Isn't that his brother? Or are they friends?
Who you talking
The
about?
guy in the very first episode who.
Oh yeah, that's his brother. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm blanking on his
I thought
name
they
right
were
now.
friends. Yeah, I'm super blanking in his name right now too.
Well, I will flash it on the screen and everything.
I
'cause
would.
we're
I
blanking
honestly
here.
like the transition that it went from Ellie and Joel to Bill's story.
Yeah,
and it
to
was
Bill and
kind of
Frank,
in
yeah.
a way kind of tragic to find out that the government was killing freaking uninfected people.
Yeah,
Which is honestly such a realistic thing because that could happen.
and we saw it
100%.
happen to Sarah. We saw it happen to Joel
Yeah.
almost earlier in the first episode. So we're like, oh man, that totally tracks.
Oh, that's right.
And when
Oh,
Joel
yeah.
was
Oh
like,
my
hey,
God.
you don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh no, don't tell me it's more people that got killed and
Yep.
shit. I was like, yep, it is. And he's like, it was just heartbreaking to see. And he was like, yep, that's the harsh realities of what happened, man.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy to see Ellie's reaction to a lot of stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
It was just funny.
It was a really sad moment just seeing like obviously the corpse, not even the corpse, like the skeleton of a baby and a mom. That's always sad to me. And
Man.
yeah, seeing how Bill was so overly prepared for all that, like, it was honestly pretty cool. And I think to me it's wild that there's actually people like that in the world that are literally like that, like Bill,
Yep.
Yeah. And then
crazy.
that would be the best person to
Survivalist.
have. Yeah, that'd be the best person to have in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, man. You got to find your Woody Harrelson from
Yeah.
2012 somewhere out there in the world, y'all. Make it a priority. But yeah, man. So that's pretty much our overall thoughts. So now we're going to get into the recap portion where we kind of break it down from the beginning of the episode on through with all the details and whatnot. And as we said, it's not necessarily like a super plot heavy episode where we're
Yeah.
like doing a whole bunch of stuff advancing the modern plot in 2023.
Exactly.
We were actually jumping a little bit more back in time to 2003, 2006.
Yeah, it
things
time
like
jumps
that.
like every like 4 years pretty much.
Yep.
That's how it feels like.
And then every so often throughout the 2000s, you could say, through
Yeah.
the 2010s into the modern present day. But we pretty much start out in present day in 2023 with our duo, Joel and Ellie. And as they're getting ready to depart from where they are, so that way Joel can go get his stash he has over there at the convenience store,
Yep.
he tells Ellie, like, hey, let's get one thing straight. If we're going to travel together, if we're going to do this, there's 3 rules. Don't tell anyone about your condition. Anything I say goes. Or no, when I say it, you better do it, or whatever, however the hell he says it. And then 3, what was the 3rd rule?
I'm trying to think right now too. I don't remember, but yeah, there's 3 rules.
But
But I think that was said at the end after he finds the.
Oh, wait. I
Yeah.
forgot. What happened? He found
The letter that
the letter
Bill left.
Bill left
But
for him.
yeah, that was like till the end of the episode. In the beginning, they
Yeah.
were just still walking. Yeah, you see them stopping in the convenience store. You see them find this. No, not the
Yeah, you see
stash,
them
but
looking for his stash,
their
and she's like, "Do
stash.
you even know where it's at?" And he's like, yeah, trust me, I know where it's at." And she's all giving him shit for it.
Oh my god, I was a little like worried that why would Ellie go into that little basement thing by herself? You know,
I know,
like
dude.
whoa,
I was like, "What the hell's going on here? Get your ass up there!"
for real. Or tell like, hey, yo, Joe, come through. Like, give me some, some help over here or something. You know.
But she went ahead and got rid of that infected herself.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see. I was trying to think why she like slid him open. You know, like what was the point of that? What
Maybe she was just
I don't-
curious.
I don't know. That was still pretty cool though. But yeah, they leave the convenience store from there.
Yep.
Start walking.
And then they
again.
start walking along, and then Ellie starts speculating on, man, I wonder where all this shit started from, you know? Like, what happened on the first day? Like, do you remember? And all this. And she was like, it all just went down in one day. He's like, I mean, more or less.
Pretty
but
much,
Pretty
yeah.
much. He's like, over a weekend, you know?
And it is pretty crazy that
And I was like, damn, that kind of tracks.
Yeah,
like
like
if something that extreme in the modern day and even in the 2000s, I was like, man, I could see that.
Just
Now
in
that
2
I'm
days,
older,
yeah.
thinking back to the 2000s, I'm like, it ain't changed too much. I could see that shit just fucking us up real quick, man. And just the whole speculation of how people kind of have figured out what the actual origin of it is, in the fact that it kind of spread from the flour in an ingredient that is just worldwide amongst
Oh, yeah.
all types of foods and is used on a regular basis just everywhere. So that was actually really dope how
Yeah, for
like
real.
that all ties back in
I
to
literally-
episode 2.
I literally had toast this morning. You know, so I could be infected right now, man. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, fucking y'all seen it here first. The Last of Us Part 3, but fucking,
shit.
but yeah, dude. But it's just crazy how all that stuff has gone down, man. And then Ellie's like, man, it's so crazy how like people have like been in like planes and shit when she sees the plane
Oh,
crash.
yeah, that's right.
And she's like, man, that's so cool. Have you been in a plane? He's like, yeah, a few times. It's whatever. He's like, it didn't seem cool at the time, and it's like, hell yeah, dude, getting on a plane is a bitch until you get to where you're at.
I love the such a different perspective from Ellie, who's like,
Yep.
for the first time seeing a plane, she's like, whoa, you were in the sky, and to someone who's been on planes, you know, at least
Yeah.
once or many times, whatever, you're like,
Yeah.
it's just a plane, you know?
Exactly.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like it's so awesome to see that wonderment in the character of Ellie, and that totally tracks for her character in the game from what I know so far from the little bit I have played and things like that. And it just makes total sense for how she would see those things differently and how she would perceive the world that way, like and stuff like that. So I love that. But then she ends up seeing like, oh wait, what's over here? And he's like, oh, you don't want to look at that. And then she's like, oh shit, and sees a bunch of skeletons laying
Yep.
around. And he's like, oh, what the hell happened here? And he's like, well, the government was shooting a bunch of people when there wasn't room apparently in the evacuation vehicles or whatever.
QZ or
Yeah,
whatever.
QZ vehicles or whatever.
Space, yeah.
Yeah, when there's no space supposedly, so then they would just kill these people as if they were infected when more than likely most of them, if not all of them, were not.
I think he even mentioned that they were like the lower income type
Lower
of,
income people, yep.
people, and it's like I could believe the government doing that, you know?
Yep.
It's pretty sad.
You already
for sure.
know, bro. So it's fucking.
And even
just-
Ellie was asking, like, they were not infected, and Joel was like, yeah, they were
Yeah.
not infected.
Probably not.
Hmm
He's like, yeah, that's how it goes.
And then yeah, from there we get the transition to pretty much Bill's life, and how wild his life got and gets, you know.
In 2003,
Yep.
starting out, man. So we jump all the way back to 03. Y'all know the deal. And Bill's over there doing his thing, hiding out when all the people, the government is coming in, evacuating people, where they're putting them on these vehicles that they were just referencing. And then he was like, and there was some guards trying to go to his pad or whatever, but they couldn't find him in his bunker. And he's like, fuck off, you Nazi asshole,
Yeah.
whatever the hell he said.
Yeah.
And then he's just chilling there with a shotgun ready, locked and loaded, ready to go get shoot these fools. And then time jumps forward a little bit more, and he's just chilling at his pad, doing his thing.
4 years jumped.
Yeah, 4 years, right? So it's 2007?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 years have jumped precisely.
Yeah.
And then
You get a
he's-
whole little montage of him just
Yeah.
pretty much surviving. He
Yep, doing his
fenced
thing.
off his whole like community in a way.
yeah,
Yeah.
made his own little town.
He started growing like vegetables.
Yep.
Obviously killing animals too. Like he's pretty much eating steaks every morning. I
Hey,
mean
that's
every
not
day.
bad,
Sorry.
man. That ain't
Yeah,
the
for real.
worst.
Huh? He's eating steaks every day because he's obviously knows how to hunt. Yeah, this guy is for sure a survivalist.
Man, this guy's ready to go.
Yeah, but you get that 4-year time skip.
Jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. To fucking 2007, and then he's doing his thing and everything like that after the montages come through, and then a stranger ends up walking up, and he's like, "Who the fuck is that?" And then it actually turns out to be a clicker at first, or not a clicker, but an infected.
Yeah.
Takes out the infected. He's like, "All right, nice. Take
Yeah,
this motherfucker out real
he
quick."
has set up all these booby traps,
Yup.
from electric fences to just shotgun shells shooting you in
Bombs
the
and-
face and bombs. Yeah, like
I was
it's
like,
all
Jesus.
flamethrowers. Like it's pretty
Which
crazy.
you see come into play later on.
Yeah.
And fucking the zombie gets fucked up in the trap or whatever, and he's like, "Aha, you little fucker!" And then a little bit later on, a stranger shows up, and he's like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Yeah, he falls into a pit.
Yep. And he's like, "Who the fuck is in this pit over here?" He's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he's like, "Hey, are you armed?" He's like, quiet and shit, thinking about it, and he's like, "No." He's like, "What took you so long to answer, bro?" He's all, "I was thinking about lying, but I figured, what's the point?" And then he's like, "All right, what's your deal, bro?" And he's like, "Well, I'm starving and I've been lost for days, and I started off with like a group of 20, and now it's just like one, just me." And he's like, "Holy shit, dude, that's crazy. You escaped with 20 people during the freaking the whole shit going down, and then you're the only one that was left. Like, imagine, like that's crazy.
That's pretty sad. Yeah, that's
crazy,
yeah,
bro.
man. And you don't even know like how it even happened or what happened to them because there's no explanation. They could have been literally dying in front of him, or they just took off and they died out there.
Who knows
That
what this
sucks,
guy sees,
yeah.
man? And it's like he's like, "Hey, man, if you just help do me a solid, and let me out of this pit and let me get some food and shit, man, I'll be grateful." He's like, "I promise I'm not gonna do anything. I won't let anyone know." And he's like, "All right, man,
And
come on in."
it's pretty wild just to give people chances like that in a world that is
Yeah, 'cause
pretty
people
much
take
destroyed
advantage.
or take advantage or
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. I was expecting that
He's gonna shoot
either
him.
he was gonna shoot him or Frank was gonna come back with a bunch of other people.
That's what I thought, too.
way off.
And then they were gonna get booby trapped.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna kill Frank, and that's how he's gonna end up dead, like he was in the games.
Hmm.
But they totally fucking swerved us even harder than we thought, because then they actually delved into their romantic relationship that was hinted at in the games and was prevalent if you did some of the side mission stuff and found some of the notes left there, and the suicide note written by Frank to Bill. And he actually, Joel has the option of giving it to Bill or not, and then you have the option of doing that.
So in the game, Joel and Bill actually meet. Like they.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in the game they actually meet up, and they have the same sort of like trading relationship that they
Yes.
do have in the episode,
Mhm.
but it's a lot more contentious, and he's a lot more of a fucked up person, and a lot more like off like a lot more unhinged and things
Oh,
like that,
okay. Yeah.
than he is in the show. Because in the show he is a survivalist, he is a badass, but he's a lot more of a soft-spoken, more kind-hearted person if you
Yeah.
really see how he is as a
Mhm.
person. And then in the games he is not that at all. And he already handcuffs Ellie when they meet, and he doesn't get along with her at all. And then in the show, as you guys just saw, if you saw it already, obviously that they don't even interact in
At
the
all,
show at
yeah.
all. So that was a whole different thing too. Because in the game, you go to a certain chapter in the game, and you meet up with Ellie as Joel with Bill, and then he all starts doing all this crazy stuff. And then you see at one point that Frank had hung himself in the house.
What?
He's just still sitting there and stuff, hanging there. Yeah.
What the?
Yeah, dude. And then you have the option, like I said, of doing the whole side mission, finding the suicide note, and he essentially, for the most part, was kind of blaming Bill for the way he was all depressed and everything.
He's
For
blaming
being
Bill?
Yeah, for being such a being like such a depressive, like terrible, miserable person and all that stuff, that he ended up making him so depressed that he wanted to kill himself. Apparently, so
is
he pawned it
wild.
off on him a lot more so. So that was the whole thing.
That's
you
like-
never met. You never met him at all.
Man, that's so completely different from the episode. Like for sure.
Yep.
Well, I wonder what made it like the writers go like such a different path.
I did watch the interview thing they did afterwards, and they said that they found an opportunity, that if they ever saw an opportunity within the series to improve anything or expand upon anything that they thought would make a lot of sense for the characters, or would flesh things out, they would do so. And they felt that that was the right way to go, since it was hinted at and was kind of established in the game. But they figured that they could take it in a new direction and spin it a little bit and make it a little bit more relatable and a little bit more less harder edge, I guess you could say. So
Yeah.
they were able to kind of work it in, but keep some of the tragedy that was in there. So
Wow.
yeah.
Man, that the storyline from the game sounds honestly messed up. Like
Yeah,
holy
dude.
damn.
For the most part, the first two episodes stayed essentially right there with it. For the most part, but the actual crazy part that I forgot to bring up before, actually, just real quick aside, but it does take place with the show, was in episode 2. You know how Ellie essentially, or not Ellie, sorry, how Tess essentially blows herself up in the thing
Yes.
when she's making out with the zombie.
Yeah.
Uh, making out with the infected.
My God.
In the game, you actually escape with Ellie out of the same spot essentially, but she gets gunned down by some people or the Fireflies or something like that.
Tess gets gunned down.
Not by the Fireflies, but yeah, she gets gunned down by a bunch of the
by some
military
other just
people.
by,
Yeah,
just by people.
Yep. She gets gunned down, and you can hear it from a distance.
What?
Yeah.
What? But
In the
because she
game.
was, did she get gunned down because she was infected or?
Nah, they just gunned her. Or yeah, she was still infected the same way like she was in the show.
Yeah.
But they just gunned her down right on the spot.
Man, I really
You can
like
hear
all
it.
these little like different turns that the writers from the show did
Yeah, man.
to I feel like make the in a way the story a little bit better because I that's the way that Tess went down. It's freaking awesome, you know.
I agree, dude.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot more because it's still dark without being so bleak at the same
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? It's more like there's a little bit of a hopeful, kind of bittersweet kind of vibe to it. You know?
I think bittersweet's the perfect
Yeah.
word for to be using for this because yeah, a sacrifice from Tess is really cool, you know, and Bill not being unhinged like how the game I guess makes him seem like it. It was pretty wild because
Yeah.
it's pretty cool that he's not like that because I guess in that suicide letter that was found in the game saying like blaming Bill, that's kind of messed up, you know.
Exactly,
Yeah,
dude.
that's
So
really
they
messed up.
totally took it in a whole different direction.
Yeah.
And created a legitimate love story because as time goes on, Frank wants to end up, he ends up wanting to make friends, right? And he gets, he's lonely. He's a little more emotional and everything, as y'all see throughout the episode, a lot more than Bill is. Bill's a little more reserved and closed off, more shut off to his feelings, more in that kind of brawn, kind of manly man sort of kind of macho thing, And he ends up getting in contact with Tess over the radio and
Yeah.
ends up striking up a deal with her and Joel to come meet up with them and have a dinner and discuss and expand upon opportunities
Yep.
that they could get supplies and different materials and things for them if they worked out some kind of trade deal. And then at first, Bill's very hesitant to do it, even so much so that he has a fucking gun on the table in their face right there while they're eating, essentially. And then Joel even says at one point, like, hey, man, I totally get why you have everything set up this way, and I totally understand why you don't trust us, man, but you better get that fucking gun out of my face. And I was like, yeah, there you go. There's Joel right there.
Yeah.
Freaking, that's classic Joel stuff right there. And then they ended up having a nice discussion and everything and came to a sort of kind of respect and agreement
Yeah,
overall.
very
Because he was
respected.
like, dude, your shit over there's got a year tops. All that is corroding in itself. All that wire you have for the fence is just gonna totally disintegrate and everything. I can get you enough to last you a lifetime, bro. I got the fucking shit. I got the connect. I got the plug, bro. You need to hit me up. Trust me. And then they ended up striking up the same kind of trading relationship that was established in the game. But even that was a little bit more friendly than what it was in
The
the
game?
obviously.
Wow.
A lot more. And then
That is
as we
wild.
saw as time progressed, him and Bill and Frank had their disagreements and everything, as all couples do.
Of course.
But overall, they had a great life together. But eventually, Frank ended up getting sick, and he ended up getting some kind of disease.
I want to say he got like cancer.
Yeah, that's what I would assume as
Because,
well.
I mean, they don't specifically said,
but to me, it
anything-
seemed like it too.
to me, the biggest hint was, oh, there wasn't even a cure for what I have.
Exactly,
In our day,
back
which,
then, yeah.
Like, to this day, we still don't
Exactly.
have one, you know?
2003 was even worse.
Yeah, so it's just, that's the first thing that came to mind. Like, oh, sadly, he has cancer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he ended up getting a cancer diagnosis, but
It's pretty wild how they traded, Bill and Frank traded, like, okay, not Bill and Frank traded seeds for a gun for seeds, you know?
Yeah.
And it's great. To me, it was just like such an eye opener seeing, like, how the world, you miss something in the world that you had, which is like strawberries, and shit, strawberries are delicious, you know?
Yeah,
And you would
dude.
trade strawberries for a gun, and
them
shit.
fools were eating them strawberries. It was
Uh-huh.
like somebody just gave him something like I don't know. It was like somebody just like popped the cherry for the first
Yeah,
time over
exactly.
there.
Like it's
Like,
it's
whoa.
wild how like someone would trade such a big thing as a gun, especially having people trying to bite you or kill you for like seeds.
Yep.
It's pretty like how scarce everything is in the whole world.
I just love the way they paint the picture of how fucked up the world is. And
Yeah.
in the Last of Us world, in this series, feels so lived in. And that's the kind of feeling I love from these type of movies and TV shows and comic books and video games. When you feel immersed in the world, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you feel like you can like reach out and touch it. When you feel like it's palpable and it can happen to you or it can happen to us in some kind of world or like alternate reality out there. And that's the kind of stuff that I always dig. And this show is just doing that in spades, man. Like this is far and beyond, man. The best video game adaptation, bar none. Dude.
Another scene that I feel like we're almost skipping is when they get attacked. When Bill and Frank get
Oh yeah,
attacked,
I forgot about that.
and
Yeah,
Bill gets freaking shot in the stomach.
yeah, he gets end up shot in the
Yeah.
thing because they end up setting off the tripwires and everything.
Oh.
Flamethrowers are going off, lighting up fools like Johnny Blaze just said flame
Yeah.
on over here.
Yeah,
And
people getting electrocuted in the fans.
Yep.
And it wasn't just one or two. It
it
looked
was
like a
gang of fools.
Yeah,
it was like dozens of
exactly.
people. And it was like the Frank prediction you had at first, but in a whole completely different way that subverted the expectation you had right there.
Yeah, and like there was no like story of it. Like who are these people? Where do they come from? How do they even find?
Just Raiders,
I-
bro.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
But it could
yeah.
come back around.
I wanted to see maybe like if I wish there was like a scene or two where it just showed some guy just walking along. And he's like, oh, what is that? And then we're still going back to our love story of Frank
Hey,
and Bill.
dude,
and
you
their
never
life.
know. This series does tie into itself.
Really?
in
Okay,
Different
then.
ways.
I guess
like,
I'm jumping the
you know what I
jumping the
mean?
gun pretty
that's
fast.
Yeah, that's why I'm just waiting and seeing because it could be Fireflies that did that.
Oh, exactly,
It could be
that's
a whole
true.
another faction that did that could play into the show because there's an episode 4 preview that we'll get into near the end of the recap here where there's some big stuff going down next episode. So there's some
And-
definite stuff that could tie back into this one in that
I was
regard.
so surprised that Bill, when he got shot, he was telling Frank, "Oh, call Joel, call Joel." In my head, I thought he was gonna blame Joel. He's like, "Oh, you people said where we were at, and look, we're being attacked now." And I thought it was pretty cool that he was like, "Call Joel,"
Yeah.
he'll protect you. He'll protect you.
It kind of made me assume that they like spent other like they obviously got like a little bit more of a friendship than in the game, so they probably spent a little more time around each other and whatnot,
Yeah.
and grew more of a mutual respect.
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
didn't see play out on screen, but I like the way that you could really feel it in the way that it's acted out, and not
Exactly.
necessarily in a way that they have to try to tell you necessarily. They're just showing you because in a moment of like the most craziest crisis that he could go through, he's like, yo, call Joel. Like
Yep.
that's a big powerful thing. When he was saying just like maybe 10 to 15 minutes earlier in the episode, we don't have friends, you know what I'm saying? Like when he's
Yeah.
yelling at him in the front porch, like
true.
the front yard, like we don't have friends, bro. Like ain't nothing like that going on. So I just love the way that you start to see Bill's optimism kind of start to grow a little bit again, just slowly but surely in the
Yeah.
episode. But hell yeah, bro, good shit right there.
Exactly.
Glad we didn't skip that
I
episode.
think
that was a pivotal
I
moment.
think that's one of my favorite scenes.
Hell yeah,
just
in the
because-
show, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Bill's has a really good character development just in those 40 minutes of screen time that he had, from like not trusting no one to like being open in a relationship and even trusting Joel, like to the point he's dying. He was okay. He didn't
Potentially could die in that
Potentially
moment, yeah.
dying words are like, call Joel. Like that. You call him, he's gonna protect you for sure.
That's
and
powerful
yeah,
shit, bro.
exactly. Like, it's pretty cool. This Bill character in the show, probably one of my favorite characters right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where in the game, you probably be like, man, fuck this guy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Kill Bill up in this bitch. Like, fuck this guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably gonna feel that way whenever I end up getting past that point in the game where I'm stuck in like episode 2 over here. So fucking yeah, man. But
Yeah.
excellent stuff. And then just the way that their love story does indeed come to an end. The way that Frank asked Bill to essentially give him the perfect last day of his life and to give him and eventually give themselves both a way out
Yeah.
together was just heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
It's like, just the whole way it went down, just the whole way that, it's just, goddamn, dude, just powerful stuff.
I for sure wasn't expecting Bill to also in
Go
a way
along with it?
commit suicide,
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously Frank was the one who told Bill, "Hey, just
Crush
up these pills
man.
and
put it in the drink.
Yep.
And let's just end this thing off, man.
yeah." And I thought it was pretty crazy that he decided to do that for himself too. And man, that was pretty sad.
Yeah, dude. It was one of the most heartbreaking love stories I've ever seen, like on screen, and just the way they were able to achieve that in one episode, man.
Yeah.
Like I saw this thing on Instagram earlier today, how people were like, "Oh man, this might be the best episode of television ever." I was like, "Hey, bro, I kind of get why people do have that hyperbole." I'm like, I
Yeah.
always like to let things settle for a while.
Yeah.
I don't like to say that when I just watched it the night before, but I'm like, I could see why people are that hyped up because it is an excellent episode of television. It's fucking incredible. And then we haven't even gotten to the Joel and Ellie stuff to bookend the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that he finds the note, obviously, or Ellie finds the note from Bill.
They finally arrive to the
once they get to his bunker and everything.
Yeah.
Joel's like, all right, make sure you back up. I'm getting ahead of myself there. Make sure you back up. I'm going to open up this code, and hopefully the tripwires don't go off and light our asses up here.
Exactly.
And then he puts the code in. It still works, and he gets inside. And then him and Ellie make their way up to the place and everything. They get into the bunker, or get into the house, I should say. And then they're like, all right, well, nobody seems to be here. You chill right here. If you hear anything, if you see anything, scream. And she's like, all right, whatever. And then she's like, what if they're gone, you know? Like, and I'm like, damn, she's right, you know? And then she ends up finding that note. Joel ends up coming back, and she's like, all right, well, here's what happened. She starts reading it out loud, and then you hear her saying like, oh, well, we made sure to open the doors and windows in our room so that way our bodies wouldn't smell too bad.
Not the door, it's just the window.
Or just the window. Yeah, we opened the windows just so our bodies wouldn't smell too bad.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh, God, dude. Like, just straight to the point. And then she sees reading the note, and then Tess ends up coming up in there, but she stops herself before she reads that name, and then Joel snatches the note away from her like, what the fuck did you just say?
I just remembered the third rule. Is don't bring up Tess.
Don't bring up Tess. That's what it was.
Yeah.
There you go. So she almost broke the third rule right there, which wasn't her fault because it was in the note. But her ass got carried away reading out loud over here like she's fucking narrating the damn thing. And then Joel ends up getting upset, and he's like, oh, well, give me that note.
That's what... That little scene where he takes a note and like he walks out of the house for a second and like comes back. I always wondered, did him and Tess ever have like?
Yeah, they did for sure.
Oh, okay. Like,
yeah,
they have to, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like they never outright say, like he never outright says it in the show or the game. But I'm pretty sure in both versions that they are a romantic relationship. The creators of the show did say that in the interview after the episode went off in the preview and whatnot, after the credits. They did say that their romantic relationship meant a lot to him, and the fact that he wasn't able to save her has really starting to wear on him and is really like eating him up inside right now. So yeah, they definitely were a thing. He just doesn't want to get into it because he feels like if he says it out loud, then he's gonna have to really feel like he went through the same loss that he went through with Sarah all over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. More heartbreaking stuff. Isn't it just a delightful show to Isn't it just delightful? But so Joel ends up having an emotional moment, but then he gets himself back together, gets his composure, and he's like, all right, well.
And don't forget, that letter also had a key.
And the letter had a key to the car that they're going to end up taking.
That same pickup truck that he had,
Exactly.
Or that Bill had, there you go.
Yep, the same pickup truck from the game, I believe, as well.
I really liked how he opens up the hood of the truck, and the car battery's gone.
I'm like,
and for a second, I was like, "What? This is literally the whole like reason why they're even out here for the battery."
Yeah.
But then you find out he has to like in a way make the battery because that's what all the ingredients were in that fridge that he opens up.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like the way that they swerved you for a minute too, right there. I was like, "Oh shit, that's kind of cool."
Yeah.
So then they made the battery and everything, and he's putting that together. He's like, "All right, well, while the battery stuff's finishing up and all that,
it's charging. That's right.
Yeah, while it's charging, why don't we go ahead and take a shower? And you need to take a shower for show, homie, because Ellie's like, you stank, homie." Yeah. So then they end up taking a shower, getting freshened up and everything, and get ready to hit the road once again. Ellie's all hyped because they're about to get in a car for the first time, for her at least. She's like, it's like a spaceship. And he's like, just a shitty pickup truck, man. And it's just like that same dichotomy of their perspective of just the simplest things. But it makes sense because Ellie's like maybe 14 or something like that. So it's like it's been 20 years of the entire period of time that they've been going through this crazy apocalypse. So the fact that she was born 6 years after it, she never would have been in a car. Cars were way out of the way.
Yeah.
It had been solidified that the infected were ruling the world and everything like that. And it's just going to be crazy to see how things are going to go down. But they potentially, I think they do have to stop somewhere else before they get to his brothers in Wyoming to go meet up with him. And that's pretty much the big setup for the end of the episode. And they play the little country music or whatever. And that ends that.
No, it's not a country song. It's not a country music. It's There was a
It was
specific
not.
song.
It was a specific.
Yeah, I
song,
remember
yeah.
she puts out like a cassette, and then she was
Yeah,
like,
I
"Oh,
can't remember the name of it,
He's
though.
first. Yeah, me neither. He's first telling him, nah, don't bump it," and then she puts it on anyways, and he's like, "Oh yeah, never mind. This is a good song."
Oh yeah, this is good. And she's just
Yeah.
like, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And then they end up ending the episode off. But the episode 4 preview, shit is going down, son, because it looks like Fireflies or some kind of like aggressive like faction of people are coming after Joel and Ellie in the 4th episode when they have to make a stop somewhere. And shit's gonna be going down, son. And it's the lady from freaking 2.5 Men and this last series that just got really popular, Yellow Jackets and shit like that.
Have you watched that show?
I have not watched it, but I want to.
Yellow Jackets.
I hear it's crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
And season 2 is about to drop soon,
Yeah.
in like March or something.
It's,
So
oh my
I do
gosh.
want to try to get to it. Maybe we'll have to really try to make a push for that. Try to slip that in March before
Yeah.
you end up getting into other things.
Yeah.
And, the freaking summer season really kicks into high gear.
Exactly.
But we have to try to get Yellow Jackets on there.
It's
for
a
sure.
pretty it's pretty wild for sure.
How many episodes is that for a
I
season?
think it's just like
10?
8 or 10. Yeah, around
What
there.
are they like? Hour-long
they're an
episodes?
hour,
All right,
yeah.
all right. I will put that on my to-do list. That yeah.
But
keep your eyes
what
peeled.
actress is it from? Like
I
that?
can't remember her name.
Is
I
she
think
also
her name's
in-
like Melanie?
Is she also in
something?
Whip It? You ever seen that movie with like oh my God, Elliot, the same act we just talked about, the Umbrella Academy. That same actor.
Elliot Page?
There you go.
I don't know.
She's
She
in that
was
movie.
in. She's also in. What else is she?
Yeah, because that Yellow Jackets is like actually like there's a lot of chicks in there. So
She's like an
don't
older
know.
lady.
The only two that I know is that one from Whip It, that girl, and then the woman who plays Wednesday in the Old Addams Family, something Richie. Which I like her a lot actually.
Okay.
I forgot her name
feel
right
you.
now.
Yeah, Christina Ricci.
Thank you.
Yeah, not her, but the other older lady in Yellow Jackets, like an older lady, but
okay.
not Christina Ricci. But I think her name's like Melanie Linsky or something like that. But anyways, she's gonna be popping up in the next episode. But it looks
Dang.
like there's gonna be some big action going down. It doesn't look like a lot of zombie action, but it looks like a lot of human action. So it looks like we're gonna be getting into some shit next
Okay,
week for
that's pretty
sure.
cool.
I cannot wait to see it, man. I cannot wait to see it. But if you had to give a score to this episode, what do you give it, my friend?
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, just because I give it an 8 out of 10, just because I guess the whole thing about being a flashback episode is the only thing from making it a 9. Because it doesn't advance the story as much.
You never
And,
like a flashback
yeah,
episode as
but,
much
like,
as
like, if they're gonna do flashback episodes, I always like them to be in the beginning, I guess. But then in the beginning of the show, the beginning of the show instead of like almost in the middle. How many episodes is this show?
9.
9. I guess I wouldn't say we're still in the.
So we're kind of in the first.
Yeah, the
of
first
the third
half,
We
yeah.
kind of finished the first act, so
the
now we're
first
kind of
quarter,
getting to
pretty
the
much.
second act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm gonna go with an 8 out of 10 as well. I really, really dug this episode. I think my favorite episode is still episode 1.
Me too.
But I love every episode of the show. This is a fan-fucking-tastic series. But we want to hear from y'all in those comments below the motherfucking video, y'all. Let us know, what did you think about the latest Last of Us episode, y'all?
Yeah.
And we're trying to get the views up on these things, so if you could share it with your friends, family, coworkers, and all the like, just let them know it's not safe for work. So don't bump it on your speakers. You know what I'm saying? If people have the problem with the F-bombs and shit like that, don't bump it out in there. But otherwise, throw it on your headphones and get us up. Bump it in the whip when you're on your way to work, man. Let your people know. And we're gonna be coming at y'all once again this week. We got so much stuff coming at y'all for the next couple weeks, man. Just giving y'all a little bit of a rough outline. We got some MCU content coming for you guys. We got a 2-part video series for y'all. It's going to be a tier ranking of Phase 4. We're going to go in chronological order. Part 1 is going to be dropping with y'all this weekend. So by the time you see this, about 4 or 5 days later, you will be seeing part 1 of that Phase 4 ranking. We had a blast with that one.
Yeah,
There's a big controversial opinion up in there that's going to lead us into part 2, which we will be recording soon. So I would say by the time the week Ant-Man drops, you will be seeing part 2 of the Phase 4 tier ranking there. We also are going to be talking about more Last of Us coming for the rest of this month as well. And as we get into February, we're going to have some horror content coming for Scream. And you got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania right around the corner. So don't be missing
yeah.
any of that dope content, guys.
Month.
less than a month. And like we said, we got Yellow Jackets we're going to try to get into as well. We got so many different things that we're going to be discussing right now when we go off fucking air. So make sure you guys are staying tuned and not sleeping on anything. We're going to have a lot of content coming at you, hot and heavy, all throughout the year. So until we see you again next time, make sure you stay tuned, don't sleep, stay safe, much love, and peace out, y'all.
Laters.